So, welcome back once again. In the last video, I showed you the final tips, tricks, and we published our first Mishnah. In this video, I'm going to be going over the resources that you're going to use during your Mishnah, as well as how to use a certain resource. There's one resource that we found very useful that we'll show you how to be using in this video. So first, let's go over the first resource really quickly. All the Hebrew comes from a website called Mechon Mamre, and pretty much we've provided you the link from your dashboard. You have a resource for you, just copy it, click go to web address, or if you don't have that option, just hit copy and paste it into the URL bar right here. And pretty much you just select your Mishnah here. It has all of Mishnahs. You pretty much just select the Mishnah and copy the Hebrew. So that's where we get the Hebrew. We actually recommend that you use Wikipedia for finding research on unknown objects, a strange plant, strange object. You use Wikipedia for that. Obviously, you can use any other source of information. Just make sure it is relatively credible. Sources like Wikipedia, contrary to popular belief, are actually very credible. And when you're looking for source of information, make sure it's credible. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you our diagram making tool. So this is the resource you're going to be using to create charts, maps, diagrams. So because one of the points of the Visual Mishnah is, aside from images, is to provide visual representations of information. And we're going to show you a resource that allows you to do just that. So it's already been provided right here. So just go ahead and copy the link, go to that web address, and we're going to go ahead and make a sample diagram. So as you can see, when you first load the resource, you'll get a couple options: save diagrams to Google Drive, Dropbox, your device, or your browser. So if you have a Gmail, if you're using a Gmail, then you most likely have a Google Drive associated to the account, as Google kind of provides all users with that. So if you link it to Google Drive, it'll save the diagrams that you create to Google Drive. Or if you have a Dropbox, it'll save them to Dropbox, or you can just save it to your device, so your computer. In my case, I'll just be doing device in this case. I don't recommend using browser. That's not an option you want to go with. Just going to go ahead and click device. Then you have an option to open an existing diagram, create new diagram. So I'm just going to make a new diagram, and we're going to call it test diagram. Then you have here templates. So you have the basic template, and then you have all these different templates, some for business, engineering, flowcharts. So in our case, we're going to be clicking on the wireframe template because wireframe is what you're looking for. Wireframes are more of a diagram type thing. Usually wireframes are used when creating samples for websites. But in this case, we'll just be using wireframe, and then just don't select anything here, just hit create. So you're taken to a blank canvas. As you can see, I have a blank canvas here. And there's a grid. So on the side you have a whole bunch of shapes, and so let's just go ahead and make something really simple. This is not going to be anything from the Mishnah, but we're just going to go ahead. So if you click double rectangle or just rectangle, it'll appear on your canvas, so just drop it somewhere. You can resize it. As long as it just follows this grid, you can resize it. All of that is easily done. You can give it a fill. As you can see, all your options are up here, fonts and all that. So let's go ahead and just click the paint bucket. That's usually the icon used for fill, so let's make it some shade of blue. So now we have a blue rectangle. Adding content is pretty easy. We're just going to go ahead and add some text. So as you can see, there's lots of different categories here. We have text, connection, advanced, arrows, images, and just lots of stuff here you can utilize. I mean, they even have different iPads. It's all for really just creating wireframes. So let's go ahead and just select text. Let's add a quick, some basic text. Simple text just gives me text. They even have an option to add like heading text and a text box and all that. But we're just going to drag in simple text. As you can see, it's easy to align stuff to the center because it all snaps as you're moving it. So just going to type something here, test diagram. And once you've done that, we do recommend that you do try to make it look nice. You know, if it's a blue background, make the text white. It's easy to apply all of that, so just like and you can customize the text to change text color. Just click this icon right here. This is all about text, and this is about shapes. So just go ahead and make it, you know, white. And then let's change up the font. As you can see, the font selection here is pretty bad, so it's easy to add we recommend using the font Source Sans Pro. This is the font that we use throughout the site, and if you click apply, it'll automatically apply that font. So, like I mentioned in all the previous videos, there's going to be a resource guide, which is going to give you names, links, everything is going to be in there. So, if you don't have to worry about forgetting the name of a font or anything. We'll provide all of that in the resource guide. Once you've done that, you can apply multiple different text effects. You can make your text, you can change the size, let's make it bold. There's just lots of things you can do, but try to you know, make them look nice. And that's just some of the stuff you can do. So as you can see in this case, there seems to be a border. So pretty much all I did was got rid of that border because it looked a bit strange. And so we have our square here. It says test diagram. So let's pretend we're making something where we're showing what a base core looks like inside, base Rova looks like inside a base core. So I'm going to just make another rectangle here, a circle. It doesn't really matter for this tutorial. But just drag this in here, you know, make it a square. And so you can pretty much give dimensions. Just by, I mean, I'm not going to be showing you every single feature here, but just pretty much you can easily make dimensions, you know, arrows, connection, just drag an arrow into here. And once we have that arrow, you know. So it's just a really fluid and easy to use snap layout. So there really isn't much to show you because there's so many different things you can do in Draw.io, but it's really quite simple to use. So this is just a basic overview of how to use this resource. You can play around with it, see, you know, make things look how you want them to look. As I said, links and all of that will be provided at the end of this video. This is the final video for your Getting Started guide. Once you've watched your resource video, you're done. And there will be a link in the description that will allow you to download the resource guide that is filled with all the links, images, mini tutorials, and it's really quite useful. Make sure to download that and keep it at hand. You'll be able to open it, easily get shortcodes from there if you forgot anything. And thank you for watching the Getting Started guide. You've officially finished and ready to go ahead and start adding content. Thank you for watching.